So, I've just heard the brand new Soulsavers and Dave Gahan album, Imposter. And my friends, all I can say is, I think I can predict what's going to happen with Depeche Mode and the Soulsavers. I may be wrong, but I may be right. Stick around, let's talk about it. Welcome to Piano and Keyboard Artist, where we discuss the artists related to pianos, keyboards, and synthesizers. So, Dave Gahan and the Soulsavers, Imposter. It's finally out. I've just listened to it. Now, I must say, this is not going to be an in-depth review. It would be really unfair and disingenuous of me to talk about this as a review if I've only heard it, a couple of times. So this is just going to be all about my initial reaction to it. And I'm also going to talk to you about some insights and some feelings I have about it. So this has been quite a talking point. There's been a lot of anticipation by some and a lot of non-anticipation by others. And full disclosure, it was me who said a while ago, when I was in a chat with my good friend Rob Rom from Depeche Mode Global Fan Group. Shout out to you there, brother. We were talking about Dave Gahan's solo stuff, and I just said something like, oh, I've heard a few of Dave's solo songs, and I'm not a fan. And then Rob started pressing me on this, and he said, have you heard this? Have you heard Hourglass? Have you heard? And I was like, no. And he said, okay, Vaughn, I will send you some songs. And thank you, Rob, for doing that, because by you doing that, I actually took the time to listen, and I felt quite embarrassed because I should know better than to sort of dismiss stuff that I've never heard of before. And the reason I'm saying that is because there is a very strong feeling across the Depeche Mode community of people who feel the same way I did, and that is they cannot separate Dave Gahan from Depeche Mode. And I think that's almost, has Dave been typecast by Depeche Mode? Absolutely. It's not a bad, certainly not a bad thing. But we have to understand that Dave has progressed and evolved as an artist, and where he is now is where he wants to be. And of course, there are those of us who want him to be back where he was, or people always have their opinions on, on what you should or should not do as an artist. Now, if you remember the interview I had with Gary Newman had a similar dilemma. Well, it's not really a dilemma for Gary Newman, because what he basically said was, he said to me, I started in 1979, but I'm going this way. Gary Newman went on to say that there are those fans that want me to stay back in 1979. And as Gary said was, well, fuck it, I'm going this way, and you can come with me, or you can fucking stay back in 1979.
I'm not interested in playing the hits of yesterday to keep the faithful happy. I'm on a journey. This is my life, and this is my career, and I'm on a journey, and I'm going somewhere. You can come with me or not. You can stay in 1979 if you want and just live with that. But don't expect me to be there with you. I'm fucking going that way, And I don't know what's out there, and I don't know what's coming, but I'm excited about finding out, and I'm excited about what I can contribute to it. And if there's any way that I can shape what's coming, then I will do so. That's the journey that I'm on.
Once again, artists that go that long and have such a sort of like connection with their fan base, of course, people are going to be passionate about it. And that is indeed the case with Dave Gahan. If we look at the way Dave Gahan started in, back with I Just Can't Get Enough, that sort of chubby cheek, fresh faced kid. And we look at him now. One thing Dave Gahan has always had is impeccable style, great taste, and he studied fashion design, and he's always looked great. Now, he's changed a lot. In fact, I will do a video on that, about the evolution of Dave Gahan, because there is so much to talk about. Not only his voice, but his style and his persona, especially from the time when he moved to America. He came back, we got Songs of Faith and Devotion. That pissed a lot of people off, but got a lot of people on board. And a lot of my British friends have said that, Depeche Mode, has never been the same since Dave Gahan moved to America. Some people went on to say that America damaged Dave Gahan. What have you done to our Dave Gahan? My British friends say. But anyway, that's another story. So coming on to Imposter, I like the name. It's kind of a spin on Martin Gore's Counterfeit, where Martin Gore's Counterfeit, where he sings cover songs and does his own interpretations of them. Dave Gahan has done the same thing here, albeit in a completely different musical style. So the only way to listen to this record, and I'm going to give you this advice, and it may seem silly, but I had to do this. It was the only way I could listen to this. I had to say to myself, Vaughn, forget everything you've heard from Depeche Mode and Dave Gahan, which is difficult to do. Forget all your preconceived ideas. Pretend that this is a new artist you've never heard before and just listen to it from that perspective. And as silly as that sounds, that helped a lot, because I've listened to this album from beginning to end once, and then I selected random tracks. I love this song, Shut Me Down. It really has a real sort of the harmonies and the approach on that is very, it does remind me of Dave Gahan and Martin's voice on that particular track. But there are some great numbers in this. Now, these are all cover songs ranging from artists like PJ Harvey to Charlie Chaplin. I will do my research and bring you a full review later, I promise. But on initial listen, I liked it. Once I told myself, Vaughn, pretend this is an artist you've never heard before. I liked it. I think it's very grown up. It's very musical. Now, please understand, I'm not trying to sound like a Dave Gahan fanboy here. If you've been following me from the beginning, you will know that despite the fact that I'm passionate about Depeche Mode, I've been able to criticize them too. I'm not a raging fanboy. You only need to watch the review I did on the Spirits of the Forest movie, and you will see exactly what I mean by that. I was less than complimentary about that. So I like to always give my honest opinion on something without virtue signaling. Listening to this as if though it was an artist I'd never heard before helped me listen to it with fresh ears and a fresh perspective, and I recommend you do that too. And sort of forgetting anything Depeche Mode related, I just heard a very, very expressive voice. I was very impressed to, comparing it once to Depeche Mode again. Dave's vocal style in Depeche Mode was, especially in earlier days, it was very direct. If we take, let's just go randomly, we're flying high, we're watching the world pass us by. A very round tone. Let me take you on a trip around the world and back. A very round, very direct tone. Whereas fast forward to now in the Soulsavers, he's got this real sort of, I'm thinking of that song, After the Storm. I Saw Something. Love that song. He's really utilized a lot of breath and expression into his vocals. There's a lot more grit, a lot more growl, and he also has a lot of vocal fry. Vocal fry is that after the storm. He's got a lot, engages his diaphragm a lot more. There's a lot more agility on the notes. It's like, there's more, it's not, it's more agile. He's a lot more of an expressive vocalist now than he used to be. Now, his voice has changed a lot. In fact, his voice has changed so much that I actually feel, and I'm probably going to piss some of you off by saying this, I feel that because of the way that Dave's voice has changed, this Soulsavers outlet is probably more suited to him now than what Depeche Mode is. I realized this after watching the last Spirits of the Forest. There are certain songs that he just doesn't sing in the same way anymore. Now, that is because his voice has changed. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? No, it's not. It just is what it is. Dave has changed. His whole voice and his whole being and his essence and his whole persona is so much different now. And I really feel we are going to get one more Depeche Mode album, and then Dave will retire. I know that's going to piss some of you off, but Dave being a dignified guy, I can see him doing that, because he did say on an interview once where Dave said, if I look back at some of the live footage and I can see the cracks starting to show, I will know it's time to stop. And I think Dave being a dignified guy, he's going to know when to stop. I can't see him swinging that microphone stand around when he's 70 years old. Mind you, Mick Jagger does that. Speaking about Mick Jagger, Dave has stolen a lot of moves from Mick Jagger and Elvis, which I was very critical about in that Spirits of the Forest review. And also, coming onto that Spirits of the Forest review, I was never a fan of that red, the red jacket and the red shoes and the moustaches. Like, Dave, what are you doing, man? This is like so Las Vegas. What are you doing, Dave? it's like Las Vegas Dave. Las Davis, yeah. But anyway, so the whole Soulsavers thing, I think, is starting to suit Dave better. Now, I'm not a fan of that style of music, this traditional rock, bluesy, gospel kind of thing. I liked, I like it when it's implemented into certain music, as Depeche Mode did. I Feel You, Personal Jesus. They have a strong bluesy gospel influence, but I feel that in recent Depeche Mode albums, they've really leaned far too much into that bluesy thing, and I'm just, but hey man, and that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. It's not a bad thing. All I'm saying is I think that the Soulsavers is actually a very good vehicle for Dave at the moment. And I think we're going to get one more Depeche Mode album, and then he's going to move off onto this. And it makes more sense from a dignity point of view because, Depeche Mode is, we all know what it is. But with this sort of conventional bluesy, soul-y, jazzy, rocky kind of thing, you can sort of have more longevity with that style. You can eventually get to a point where you're just sitting at a chair and just singing. With Depeche Mode, it's really, it's physical. It's like Dave's he's like an acrobat on the stage. He's running around up. It's very physical. And I just think that this whole Soulsavers thing is possibly, it suits Dave better now these days, even though I'm not a fan of it per se. Listening to it again, I did like some of the songs. I liked his interpretations. I liked his voice. This once again came from me saying, Vaughn, you need to listen to this as if though it's someone you've never heard before. And that is something I recommend you do too before you listen to this. Pretend you don't know who it is and see how that works for you. Because this is a very conventional kind of setup with drums, bass, organs, piano, guitar, that also means that when it's performed live, it'll be a live band. I don't think they use click tracks. They may on certain songs. But I just think, I just feel this is where Dave wants to be. You hear that in the recording. You hear that when you listen to it. This fits him like a glove. It's like this is where he wants to be. This is him right now. And if we go back to Spirits of the Forest, some of those recordings of some of the older songs, I just thought maybe, I don't want to say he's bored, but I just felt that his heart wasn't in it completely in some of the songs. Whereas with this, when you listen to the Soulsaver stuff, he really feels like, this is who I am. This is what represents me. This is me. And once again, I'm not a huge fan of the Soulsavers, but I have to say, I think this record is very good. The production's very good. The musicality's there. Dave's vocals are brilliant for this type of music. And once again, I think the Soulsavers is the perfect vehicle for Dave right now and for the future, whether you or I like that or not. And that is my initial opinion on Imposter. Once again, I will repeat myself. Before you listen to it, pretend that this is an artist you've never heard before and just base it on its own merit. If you associate this with Depeche Mode, you're going to be disappointed because it's a completely different thing and it's not meant to be. Just listen to it like it's a completely new artist you've never heard before and try and just hear it with fresh ears, and you will find something in this that's very, very pleasing. So I can't believe I'm saying that, but I honestly mean that, and I will do a review on this later once I've absorbed it a little more. Right, it's up to you now. Please let me know what you thought of Imposter. Have you heard it? Have you not heard it? Anything you want to say, leave a comment in the description below. And while you're down there, please click like, hit the subscribe button, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Adios, my friends.